get it because he's optical. Anyway, I'm going to be pushing in here with my army. He has a nice block here with gateways, pylons, and photon cannons. Trying to break this down. And what am I doing here with these infestors? Am I going to fungal? No, instead deciding to throw down infested Terrans. This is something I like to do in these type of pressure attacks, to throw down infested Terrans with my infestor energy, just because they will chill here and die instead of your infestors, so that can be a lot of fun. You know, I like to retreat with both my roaches and my infestors. I just get the hell out of there. Check out the units lost tab. I came out ahead of that. Only 8 units lost, but he lost 200 more resources worth of buildings in that encounter, as I believe was the only encounter of the game. So I lost 1,049 units. Most of those had to be Zerglings. Yeah, as I only lost 1,000 resources. So that was a pretty effective poke, and he's going to have to rebuild this wall, spend a lot of APM and a lot of micro doing that. A lot of macro focus is going to go towards there, while I can just continue to drone up, think about my army composition. Getting 5 more infestors. They're really going to be the bulk of my army in this mid to late game, 15 minutes in. You know, if things are going well enough for you, you should be thinking about Hive at 15 minutes. That's not something I get very soon. Transferring drones away from the dwindling resources at the main base, that's always something you want to see. Oh man, Observer getting a huge eyeful here, because I have 0 detection, which is too bad really. But yeah, tons of infestors, bunch of Zerglings on the way, 10 Zerglings on the way for some reason. Don't know why I'm making those at this point. I do actually tech switch to Zerglings, spoiler alert, because of the composition my opponent gets. You can think about why. Okay, yeah, so he is mixing in these Immortals, which tells me he is not a big fan of Colossi. This guy likes his Immortals, which is something I've been losing to a lot, because I like to get me some Roaches, and Immortals absolutely devour Roaches. Stalker's pretty good against them too, especially if they're well microed. So I'm going to run in here, scout that Immortal in his mix, so I believe I'm going to switch over to Zerglings at this point, if I remember correctly. Zerglings so good against Stalkers and Immortals, just terrible, terrible units against Zerglings. He is mixing DTs into his main army. That's something pretty tricky that you don't always see Protoss do, just because it's very cost inefficient if I do have detection to have those DTs in there, but if I don't have any, they could potentially wipe out my whole army if I'm not paying close attention. So yep, I'm switching over to Zerglings. Tons of Zerglings in my army now, up to 79 Lings, 28 Roaches, 9 Infestors, which I really like against his unit mix. I feel like I should be able to take that down. I haven't done a scout in a while. I don't know that I have a nice lead in supply against him. That's always something difficult to ascertain in the middle of a game without the help of the supply counts in a replay. But yeah, no, I've got a big supply advantage on him. He's got no Storm or Colossi to take out my Lings. Let's see. I've got an Overlord chilling in his base. He's done some good scouting. Did I see the... No, I did not see the robotics support bay, or robotics bay, excuse me. Starcraft Brood War terminology leaking into my replay once again. I did not see the robotics bay, so that is not good for me. I do spot this Dark Shrine, which technically I spotted, but I can tell you I did not realize it. Here comes a big attack for me. Tons of Zerglings, Infestors, Roaches. I should do great against this. He has nothing really to take out my Lings. Lots of Fungals going down. Doing tons of damage to his army here. Want to see some more Fungals. Warping in more and more Stalkers. Wow. And he is actually doing quite well. I didn't do a good job of taking out these Immortals. I maybe could have neural parasited. That would have completely taken him out of the mix and turned him against his own Stalkers, which Immortals also great against Stalkers, just as good as they are against Roaches. And yeah, these DTs did some real work. They went completely unmolested. Some of them took some damage while they were fungal growthed, but I was completely unaware of those DTs throughout the whole battle. So I'm now morphing Overseer. What I like to do for my army's Overseer is to tell them to follow the Infestors the whole game, as those are the units least likely to die. I also have my own hotkey for them. I put them on 0 if I ever actually need to micro them, but when I make an Overseer for the purpose of getting detection for my whole army, I just sit them on an Infestor and pray that my Infestors don't die, and that I am granted detection for the rest of the game. So I got a ton of Zerglings still. I think that's about all I'm going to keep producing. Yeah, more Infestors, which I like. Love me some Infestors. And he's getting some Zealots, which are great against Lings. Continuing with, or no, these are probably just the same 2 Immortals he had, who got 5 and 9 kills apiece. And it looks like he's going to be transitioning into Colossi, as he's got that Thermal Lance upgrade. Yeah, he's producing 1 Colossus right now. I am floating 2,000 minerals, 2,000 unspent minerals right now, and that is not something you ever want to see as any race. It happens probably most often as Zerg, especially because I don't have I don't have a macro hatch or anything to spend my money on Zerglings. But yeah, floating 2k minerals, which is actually okay since I'm transitioning into Ultralisks. This is something that might not make that much sense with all these Stalkers and Immortals, but you know, I'm counting on my Lings to do tons of work against these against the Stalkers primarily. Hopefully I can get some good micro, move command them into the Stalker line, get some damage done that way. Hopefully they're not spending too much time engaging Zealots, which he does have a healthy number of Zealots in his front line here. And he now has a Colossus, which will really be able to mop up Zerglings. But with Infestors and Ultras, you know, you're going to be putting out tons of damage. Fungal Growth going to keep the Protoss army immobile and ready for Ultralists to devour. So it can be a good combo. It's an underused combo nowadays. People have really gotten away from Ultralisks. I see tons of Broodlord play in pro games and in amateur games that I happen to spectate or even commentate on when I'm not in the game. But yeah, Broodlord seem to be the favorite unit of Zerg. But this is a time I really like Ultralists. You know, hopefully he's not microing too well, or a lot of Stalkers get caught in fungal growths, and those Ultralists will just be able to chew those up in that situation. So tons of Ultralists popping, big upgrades coming. 3/3 coming for my Ultras, I believe, yeah, along with the Chitinous plating. Kind of moving to a forward position, not waiting for my upgrades to finish, which is kind of folly. Although it looks like Chitinous plating will be done, and it looks like an engagement is just kind of happening. My Zergling's peeling into his Zealots, and all right, Ultra's going to be charging down. All my Zerglings melt into these mere 3 Colossi. Getting some Neural Parasites on this Immortal and the Colossi. And Fungal Growth's going everywhere, massacring his army. Ultra's doing tons and tons of damage. Only thing left are these Mind Control Colossi. Get back and attack them, Ultras! Ultras do massive amounts of damage to Colossi if they ever actually get close enough to hit them. And down they go. So huge engagement there. Ultralists just tearing apart the Protoss army, not something you see a whole lot of. DT's coming in here. I need my Overseers to see them. They're actually going to massacre an Ultralist before they get taken out themselves. And Optical was sitting on this gold base for quite a while, but I was able to win the big engagement, and it's going to fall along with some of his tech. That's another reason I love Ultralists. They just chew up buildings. Once you do win an engagement, your opponent is going to lose an expansion or two. And in this case, he's going to lose a ton of production that he decided to leave out exposed next to the gold expo. Now going to be pushing into this third. I'd probably like to see myself swing around here with the Ultras and attack from this direction, but I do remember I just kind of forced myself in this way. I think I just attack moved, which isn't the smartest thing. I probably want to focus this gateway down, focus this gateway. But I do like this coming up. Yeah, and Infested Terrans all up in his business. Getting a bunch on the ridge. These reinforcing units not going to be enough. Zealot's actually pretty decent against Ultralists, but these Infested Terrans and these Fungal Growths are going to be more than enough without these Ultras even coming into play. GG from my opponent, Optical. GG indeed, sir. GG. Sorry for the lack of action early on, but I felt those 2 engagements were pretty fun to watch. Hopefully that was the case for you too. And I left the music on. If anybody listens to this and feels like commenting, I'd really appreciate it if you can tell me what you felt about the music. I really love it when I play Starcraft. So hopefully you loved it too. Hopefully you liked the commentary. Please comment, rate, subscribe, whatever you feel like doing. And until next time, GG.